Hello and good morning, all. Welcome back to the two-day APAC Virtual Manufacturing Conclave. And this session is quite important. This session will be talking about transforming energy and utility sector. And for that, we have digital transformation leaders here with us from the energy and utility companies and public sector teams for this session. Uh, Let me welcome Yogesh Kumar, Nodal Officer, Smart Meter, Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation. We welcome Mr. Yogesh. Thank you so much for joining us today. We
Hello.
have with us Mr. Joji
Good morning.
Joseph, Head Information Technology and SAP, Reliance Power Limited. We welcome Mr. Joji. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have with us Mr. Apurva Dalal, Head of IT, Acting CISO, Adani Green Energy Limited. We welcome Mr. Apurva. Thank you so much for joining us today. We also have with us Mr. Vikas Gupta, CIO, Age Energy Group of Companies. We welcome Mr. Vikas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have with us Mr. Rakesh Nair, General Manager IT, BACS Yamuna Power Limited. We welcome Mr. Rakesh. And I think we'll be joined by Mr. Harsh Arora, Head of IT of Hindustan Power. Before we start the session, let me give you a perspective about this conference. This conference is all about bringing the digital transformation leaders from various sectors of manufacturing domain per se. For yesterday, we had the inaugural session in which you saw the presence of MD and CEO of Guidance Tamil Nadu and the MD of UP Desco who were there in the inaugural. Then it was followed by two, three panel discussions, one panel on FMCG, one panel on smart factories, one panel on in core infrastructure builders, and there were two to three industry presentations as well. Today morning, we had several sessions already going on. One session on bringing down the digital barriers and designing the future workplace. Also, one panel on innovation-led manufacturing industry, one panel on importance of cybersecurity leveraging blockchain and growing role of CISOs, and this session about digitally transforming energy and utility sector. Apart from that, we have three more sessions: digital disruptions in transportation and logistics, technology-driven future of automobile and auto ecosystem, and digitization of the pharma industry in new normal. So you can understand that we have tried to get digital transformation leaders from various aspects of manufacturing ecosystem, be it pharma, automobile, energy, hardcore infrastructure, so that digital transformation leaders can come together and discuss on various aspects of building the comprehensive, effective manufacturing ecosystem with the challenges and opportunities of new normal. As we all know, that power sector, energy sector is the most critical component of infrastructure for the economic growth of the nation, and perhaps India's energy sector is one of the most diversified in the world. At the same time, lot of digitization and IT implementations are being done in the energy and utility sector in India. And for that, we have got eminent speakers with us. Let me first ask a question to Mr. Yogesh Kumar. Mr. Kumar, how is the energy sector leveraging digitization in embracing India's mission of power for all? Your thoughts on that?
Actually, when we talk about the power for all, there are two factors that are covered for giving the power to the all consumers of the nation. So one is generation. Second factor is the distribution of the energy. When we talk in the generation, we have the generation that is the thermal, hydro, and non-conventional energy resources like your solar, wind, and other type of energies, tidal energy. Then we have the multiple type of energy generation in grid optimization of the generation is of the energy to, and giving the energy to the all of the uh, consumer to the India, the India. Then we firstly have to the data. When we talk about data, then we have to talk the we have basic data we are receiving from the consumers who are using electricity at different times. Maybe in the daytime, maybe in the night time, maybe in the evening times. Whenever data is available with us, the data is coming from the smart meter. utilize the data that is receiving at the 15 meter is a smart meter. When it is available for 15 minutes without using, then we can analyze the data. By analyzing the data, we can determine the energy mix at the firstly. Secondly, we give the data illustrate consumers at which time consumer is using uh, the energy, cheap energy, or in future when we are going to TOU based billing, then we have to give the data to the consumer. So that the consumer utilize the energy by taking data that we are giving through the mobile application to the consumer. That consumer is using this energy from this hour to this hour, at particular hour to particular hours, per day energy, per day hour energy data. We are giving to the consumers through the mobile application. When receive the data at his own, then he can optimize his energy utilization this data. And by using this energy, distribution utility, a distribution utility can purchase the electricity through the unit. And when we purchase the through the generation, then generation unit are being optimized. When we talk about the optimization, then we have in we have the access of the solar energy. When solar energy is there, then we have to utilize the solar.
I think there's some network connectivity issue with Mr. Yogesh Kumar. I think he'll be back with us. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Joji Joseph, Head Information Technology and SAP Reliance Power Limited. So Joseph, how are the CIOs from energy and utilities companies are looking at disruptive technologies to enable new revenue streams, improve customer engagement, or increase their B2B value and innovate to manage costs? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. See, when we IT team working for a power generation, power utility company, you know, our thought is that business is first. So we are a support function. So whatever best technology we can provide for supporting the business, that we need to do. So power generation and distribution is not just a business; it's an essential service, and it is running with a very thin profit margin. And demand of the power is increasing, and more generation capacity is getting added, which is going to be around, I think, 800 gigawatt by 2030 as per the reports. The change in the scenario is that currently almost 60% of the fossil fuel based power generation is happening, but going forward, the renewable energy capacity is getting added more and more. In this scenario, efficient operation, maintenance, management of the power is very important, which which uh, which can be achieved without the right use of the technology. I'm stressing on the point: right usage of the technology, right usage of right technology for achieving operational efficiency, proactive maintenance, all those stuff. We shall use advanced technologies for power plants to run with the maximum capacity without losing the generation opportunity. Whereas discoms can use technologies for reducing technical and commercial losses using IoT, smart grid, smart metering, kind of that. So when I talk about power generation, uh, we mainly put on top of the DCS and SCADA systems, we have a historian application which historizes the data. The technology can be used there. So you have the complete data of the power plant. Then on top of that, if you have an asset performance management system which integrated with the DCS and SCADA system and historian application, probably can use some artificial intelligence, machine learning capabilities. This can be used for a predictive analytics, also some kind of prescriptive analytics. We can use that. This will be useful for avoiding unplanned downtime, secondary damage to the equipment, and also it will help to increase the life of the equipment. And when we talk about this kind of asset performance management, we are not talking only for boiler, turbine, generator. It can also be used for smaller balance of plant systems, which will significantly influence plant operation. Also, this APM, asset performance management, can be integrated with your ERP, like SAP PM, for generating work permits, material orders, and as and when needed. And also can be used for a scheduled maintenance. Other part of technology we can propose is that for bringing value to the business, the optimizing cost is that the IIoT, IoT implementation. You know, in the current scenario, the cost of the sensors, IoT, we use mainly sensor with some software and internet. The cost of the sensors are coming down, and this can be used for capturing the data, especially isolated equipments, isolated assets, and capture the data and do performance and operational analytics. And this can help us to do the cost optimization, and also in the distribution business it can lead to a customer satisfaction also. And when you talk about power generation business, you can use embrace a lot of technologies which with the domain expertise. With the domain expertise systems, I want to add one more point over here. As I told you in the beginning, power generation is and discoms are running with a very thin profit margin. Any technology we implement, it should be a right technology for the right purpose. I think ideally we need to avoid any research and research of technology. Nowadays a lot of big data, big analytics we are talking about, but we should more focus on the domain, the systems provided by domain experts, because they come up with the years of experience. They embed that experience, expertise to the systems, which will give best result to the business. So if you talk about advanced energy systems, you can say boiler combustion optimization. This can be used based, again it is completely data analysis and controlling the power plant systems. Then it can help for a fuel, reducing of the fuel consumption. It can, this combustion optimization, what I understand is that it can, the one of the major issue in the coal based power plant is a boiler tube leakage. The efficient combustion will help you to avoid reduce the clinker formation. This will reduce the BTL incidents. And other thing is that reducing the emissions, SOx NOx compliance, we can the business can achieve. Then steam production, the optimization of the production, like steam production balancing with the consumption. These are the plant performance optimization we have. We can use the systems. Again, the other thing is that game changer is the demand forecasting. Demand forecasting, it is helpful for both generation as well as the discoms. If you have historical data, if you have the industrial data, when I talk about, these are available online from Government of India websites, or what is the current declared capacity, what is the scheduled generation, is there any shortage. And again, when we talk about this forecasting, this will help more and more. And also weather data, this we can do the forecasting of the power requirement, and this will more help especially renewable generating stations, as well as distribution companies. And we can have a short, medium, long term trends. Again, when I talk about the all these plans, when we need to have a overhauling, we need to have a scheduled maintenance. So if we are planning a scheduled maintenance in a peak demand season, it will lead to a generation loss. Okay, so this kind of forecasting can help the business to schedule the maintenance in a time where demand is comparatively less. So these are the things. Then again, the latest trend is blockchain technology. So blockchain technology we can use for various complicated tariff mechanism, the trade agreements for the power purchases. This can be integrated with um, smart contracts using blockchain technology, which will reduce cost, which will reduce the waiting periods, and it will avoid the conflicts in the trade agreements. And this will be commercially more viable. And while we are talking about all these technologies, I would like to stress on one point. Uh, while we implement the technology, we need to be more conscious on the cyber security, because when we talk about IoT and internet based applications, public cloud, these are the entry points for cyber attacks. And such national power plants and distribution companies are the national critical infrastructure installations of the nation. Any interruption to this industry will affect mankind, the people of the country, people of its larger geographic area, industries. It will affect hospitals. It will affect the complete national interest. So cyber security need to be considered while implementing all these technologies. Like, you need to have enough network security, firewall, intrusion detection, intrusion prevention system, endpoint security, patch management, everything. Also, any system we expose into the internet should be vulnerability assessment need to be done. So these are the technological things we can do for bringing value to the business. And this will help not only improving the commercial viability of the installed capacity, and also it may lead to the ultimately it will lead to a customer satisfaction. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Right, right. As Mr. Joji was saying, I think if I take a crux of what you said, that one is that increasing operation efficiency using digital technology, uh, but also at the same time we have to be aware that what kind of digital interventions we're implementing, especially whether we are using the right technology for the right purpose. And also the system should be provided from the domain experts, as Mr. Joji was saying. And also uh, blockchain can new emerging technologies like blockchain can be leveraged for tariff cost and everything, but at the same time we have to be aware of the cyber security threats and whether we are taking adequate steps to prevent the cyber threats. So I'll come back to Joji Joseph. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Apurva Dalal, head of IT and acting CISO, Adani Green Energy Limited. Mr. Apurva, if I may ask you that, what are the digital priorities for utilities looking at IT and OT converters, especially using smart grids or smart meters? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So basically, if you look at all the digital smart grids and smart meters are already in the system. The priority is, it is a two-way communication. So smart meter will understand the load coming in from the end user. It will send it to the smart grid so that they can balance the peak hours load and all that. So these are the key digital initiative shaping the distribution landscape for smart grid with what you can say is advanced metering infrastructure. And these are all IoT enabled devices. So this will facilitate the bidirectional data and energy flow, so that you can always it is capable of enhancing the utility network. And it will also help to manage the outage. So When you see that meters are sending data to smart grid, and if it is in summer, it's a peak hour, they should be able to balance the load. And now, because the renewable is also in the picture, they can mix all this load with from thermal energy, from renewable energy, and gives it will give full customer satisfaction. And sensor based technologies are generating vast data, so this is going to help us in real time using this ever growing cloud capabilities also. So with cloud capabilities, they can handle this real time generation of data and make the decision. So this will enable us to observe the understanding of the physical world. So that's how the smart meter and smart grids are working in today's scenario.
Apurva, since you're also the acting CISO, so I'm asking this question as Mr. Joji was talking about that the more we use digital technology and emerging technology, there's always a looming threat of cyber attacks and all those things. So do you think that we should have a relook or re-strategize our operations in terms of digital intervention vis-a-vis cyber threats, or do you think that in India, utility companies, energy companies are at par with global standard when it comes to countering cyber threats with technology?
See, people need to understand when it comes to cyber security is a lifestyle change. Okay. So you don't have to consider that it's a cost to me, because see, in IT environment, when there is a cyber attack, it is just you are it's impact to your brand image, it impacts your financial losses and all that. Whereas in OT environment, impact is major because it's human life. Okay, because any catastrophe happening in OT is you lose a human life. So people need to understand this difference, and that is where cybersecurity has to be considered as a lifestyle change for IT and OT environment. And it is not a burden. It is basically we are protecting the critical infrastructure of the nation. So that's where it has to be like in your blood that whenever you set up a plant, what are the measures that you need to take care of it. And people think when it comes to cyber security, you need to invest a lot of things and all that. You don't have to invest all the required technologies available in the market. You do investment what is best fit for the infrastructure that you are setting up. There are risk management framework that you have to define for OT security also, and based on that you define your what will be the uh, measures, countermeasures you will take against cyber security. And you have seen in the past the attacks that have happened where the grid has gone down completely for a couple of days, and people were without light and energy, water, and all that essential things which were required. So that's where it is more critical, it is more advanced, important that we keep cyber security in mind for anything we do, whether it is on the IT side or on the. And because if you look at the IoTs which are coming into picture, okay, these are also sensor based data generating a lot of data, but if you don't take measures correctly, then again it's an impact to the business. So yeah, cybersecurity is important for IT and OT both.
Right, right. As Mr. Apurva was saying, that cybersecurity is very important, especially for IT, it's important, but it's more important for OT for a critical infrastructure installation, and we have to think about that. You also talked about managing outage through technology there, how the smart meters and smart grids are helping in that. And we also talked about that how cloud computing is helping in real-time analysis of data which is generating every minute. So that's quite important and insightful take by Mr. Apurva. I'll come back to you. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Vikas Gupta, CIO, each energy group of companies. Mr. Vikas, if I may ask you that, uh, how were energy and utilities companies are looking at deployment of intelligent automation. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. And one of the very important things that has happened with the energy companies, especially, is they have been the early adopters of the technologies. I think one of the few sectors that have gone into automation right from the times immemorial, which we all know. So probably somewhere around 70s and 80s. I think these with the advent of the smart meters and things like that, a lot of automation has already gone into. I think the other things which have been coming up in the current scenario is basically these companies, these energy companies, are heavy asset oriented companies. Now, they being heavy asset oriented companies, there is a possibility, and obviously there is a time frame for maintenance and the downtime for some kind of an overhaul. Now, these kind of things, these kind of activities, they need to be really forecast. So when they have to be forecast, there have to be systems which really can do that kind of an automation. There are planned alerts which now have started coming in to give some predictive maintenance schedule, and anticipation of the asset maintenance can be easily done, because of which the downtime is reduced, the forecast has to be is really maintained well, and then there are no challenges in meeting any kind of a demand. The other thing which emanates from this is the forecast of the weather conditions as such in renewable energies, especially because although we do anticipate the times when these have to be properly timed, the weather and the market conditions would really play a major role in the fulfillment. And again, on the side of the forecast from the perspective of a mix of the various energies. And a lot of times, what happens is a demand forecast is not specific to a kind of energy that is really being generated. There are thermal energies, and there are nuclear energies, there are coal energies, there are renewable energies, there are hydro energies, and all of that. So, thing is, to fulfill a specific demand at any point in time, a mix has to be really planned, and the weather and market conditions can help that fulfillment in a very better way. With the advent of IT, OT convergence, a lot of things have come in place where mining, gas industries, which were earlier kind of in a rudimentary stage of technological adoption, they have come up to deploy sensors, and they have come up to use of various other technologies like drone technologies. I'll tell you one of these things, one of these drones we have deployed for surveillance purpose. Now, what happens essentially, if you look at a lot of the companies, when we actually are a part of Hiranandani Group, and we have pipelines for the purpose of transference of gas from the place where it is offloaded to the gas grid. Now, these kind of things, these pipelines have to be monitored for rodents trespassing, for earthquakes, for leak detection, and for the purpose of these any kind of encroachments, because these pipelines run through uh, through a land which is basically on a ROU kind of a understanding. Now, these things primarily, if you look at these, definitely, and the pipelines are basically below the ground. So any kind of an encroachment can come up on the ground. We've deployed sensors, we've deployed drones to really monitor all of these, to really see that there is no kind of an infringement on that particular land, there's no kind of encroachment on that particular land. So I think, and this drone data which is available can be easily integrated with AI and an ML, which gives you a kind of a correlation between what was existing earlier to vis-a-vis what is actually new, that has come up in the near past, and what people are planning on those kind of lands to really to encroach or to do some kind of activities which should be avoided. So I think the role of technology has really far advanced, and there are few things which we can obviously think of from the perspective of maintenance or other integrations with standard applications like SAP, or for that matter, any other leak detection systems which are standard and which are available in the market of the ship.
Right, right. As Mr. Vikas was saying that how energy sector has been one of the early adopters of technology from late 90s or so, and how technology is playing, or the intelligent automation is playing a very crucial role for the energy and utilities companies. I'll come back to Mr. Vikas. Let's have perspective from Mr. Rakesh Nayak, General Manager IT, BACS Yamuna Power Limited. Mr. Rakesh, my question to you will be that how is energy as a service is emerging as a business model, or is it emerging as a business model? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, hi everyone. Energy as a service is a business model whereby customer pay for an energy service without having to make any upfront capital investment. Okay, so nowadays, just as I said, other my colleague, like distribution business is just like an essential business. It's not for the money gain and profit business. Okay, so as of now, government of India giving lot of services for the power distributions company to revamp and restructure. So how we can make the loss reductions, okay, and cash flow, and how we can manage the services and provide the endless services to the end consumer. Okay, so any upfront capital investment is a services model usually take the form of subscriptions for electricity device owned by a service company or management of energy users to deliver the desired energy services. Okay, as energy services is like power distributions company, how we can say, like, like distributions company is just distributing the power. Okay, so we have to procure the power from the generations company, like any like NTPC, NSPC, Adani, and Reliance Power. And then after we procure this power and you sell to the end consumer, that's a bigger challenges is for the cash, manage the cash flow. Okay, and energy is the company where energy is such like that we cannot save whatever generation you have to utilize and sell. Okay, so energy as a services is like a essential service where end consumer use these services for the essential use. Okay, in recent decades, services based business model have gained popularity across a wide variety of traditional product based industry, racing from, like, video streaming to regular wardrobe update, where people are using for the YouTubers, okay, who make just they're providing the services and they earn the money on the base of the subscriptions. And for the viewer, okay, how viewers say you use this channel and view the utilizations on YouTube. Okay, so as of now, this kind of services is just like a, yeah, like a like a business model where without any investment we serving to the end consumers. Okay, so we can say that the power distributions company have a lot of challenges also. Okay, so now earlier what happened that, like company have a collections, have a no digitization. So now power distributions company came a lot of services. Okay, and it provide the ease of services to the end consumer as a business model, like in during COVID, we provided a virtual call center. So if any consumer want for a new connections, yes, shifting, anything, they don't need to come to our office. They can directly interact with the virtually through the video link. They can take the appointment as per the schedule basis and as per the convenient, and they can talk to our customer care, yeah, any senior staffs, yeah, any business head, anything. Okay, so this is like a services which we are giving to the end consumer, and that is a free of charges. We are not charging anything. Okay, earlier what happened that people used to come to our office and interact, and there are a lot of crowd, and they spend the daytime and wasting your time and money also. So now we save this. Okay, apart from that, we digitize our things in better way as a call center. We implement and integrate the voice bot. Voice bot is just like a artificial and based of the artificial intelligence. Okay, Okay, so where we don't need to involve the human. So automatically consumer dial the number and they talk to the persons who's behind. This is not the physical person. This is this tools is managed by the artificial intelligence. This is also kind of a business model. Okay, so being the power distributions company, we explore anything, and digitization is not the part of like IT. So only we need to restructure the IT things, and we provide the services and make the unique IT infrastructures, like we just integrate the good software and good ERP package and thing. Is a day-to-day services. Okay, day-to-day services, and day-to-day you have to understand the customer pain point. Okay, where is the customer pain point and how we can give the leverage to the customer, how we can make the digitizations, how we can make the ease of services to the end consumer. So people feel that power is not like government free of cost services. This is a, yes, this is government subsidy is there, but still we have to buy the power, we sell and we distribute. And distribution is also a very tedious task. We have to maintain the round the clock 24 by 7. People are on road and serving the end consumers. That's also very highly cost effective. Okay, so now what happened that the power distribution company itself ready to digitizations mode, and they went for the digitization kind of a VA, virtual augmentation and VR and artificial intelligence. Recently in power distributions company in BSCS Yumna, we developed 4 to 5 virtual augmentations kind of things, like DT maintenance, like power like pole maintenance. So there are a lot of earlier what happened that there are a lot of casualty happened. So now what we did that through the help of artificial intelligence, to the help of VR and AR, we build one test cases, and we ready and give the training. So our lineman and our employee first take the training, and then after to avoid all the incident which happened in the past, and then after you went for the site for the work. Okay, so as a power distribution company, always ready to serve and always ready to take the new challenges. And all the things is not possible without the IT. Okay, so if you are not IT is the plays a very critical role. Okay, so all the digital company and all the IT companies ready to take the challenges and ready to serve and ready to accept all the challenges which is coming day to day life and day to day experience. So you can say that the power distribution is not like business model. It's just like a ease of services, we can say that. And we can build some kind of a model where people take the services as a need basis. Okay, in Delhi, like power distribution company is just like is one way. There's one company, Reliance BSES, so that's only providing the service. If you talk in Mumbai, that the generation is open. If you want to take the power from the Reliance Adani, you can take the power from Adani. If you want to take the power from Tata, you can purchase the power. So there's there's a lot of like market competitions also. Okay, and as of now, you can say that government of India spend a lot of money in power distributions company. They came into the RAP project, they came into SCADA, IPDS, and now coming into the smart meter. Why? They want to make the business IT and OT base, and they make the efficiency for collection, where losses is very high, where they can generate the money through the prepaid or postpaid mode. Okay, this is kind of ease of services, and this is you can say that key energy as a service emerging as a business model. So now earlier people don't talk about the smart metering. Okay, but government of India is came with a very wonderful project plan with the help of with the help of ESSL and IntelliSmart, and they came and they're selling the power smart metering. Okay, so what will happen through the smart metering, we can use as a prepaid and postpaid mode. Through the prepaid mode, whatever, just like a mobile paid kind of, whatever you will recharge and use when the when your balance will be low, again we have to recharge. So your collection efficiency will increase. Once your collection efficiency will increase, that means your revenue will start generating, your cash flow will increase. Your cash flow will increase, you will start taking the power on time, and you will serve the nation better way. Earlier, in if you say in India, like 30 to 40% village still is unelectrified. Okay, during the government in this government business is era, and especially in this current government, they focus on the digitizations. And in the last 6 to 7 years, you can say that payment card, credit card, and digitizations, more people are just making the payment through the digital mode. Okay, so now like peoples are very very ease and very very comfortable to come into in the digitization mode. Okay,
Right.
and taking the advantage. That's it,
Right,
sir.
right. As Mr. Rakesh was saying that how government's initiative has helped in transforming the energy sector, especially if you talk about smart metering, which has resulted in collection efficiency, which has resulted in the operational efficiency, and also helped in nation building. Thank you, Mr. Rakesh Naik, for sharing your thoughts with us. I think we have come to the end of this session, but may I ask a question to all of you quickly, if you can just answer it in a minute or so. Uh, Mr. Yogesh, what are the challenges? We talk about the opportunities, the potential of using IT or the digitization for the energy sector. If I may ask you, maybe 30 seconds or a minute to you, what are the main challenges for the energy and utilities companies in India?
Yeah, basically the main challenges in implementing IT is that कि there is a lack of expertise of this specific field in power sectors. We are facing multiple type of challenges. Major challenges we are facing the integration points. As a smart meter, we can say that the from integration from smart meter to HCS to MDM to our billing system. There is a number of integration points. At the integration point, there is a multiple type of issues. Maybe a router issue, maybe a network issue. Multiple type of issues are facing we are facing, and when we are facing issues, then we have to resolve that. uh, in present scenario, we have no expert manpower in this field, so we are mainly facing the challenges about the manpower. So we have to manage the expert manpower in future, so that the issues raised day by day may be resolved at the very easily, so that the main effectively we can use the smart metering system and IT based system for main effectively, and for consumer satisfaction, and giving services to the consumer and in better way. That
Right, right. Thank you so much, Mr. Yogesh. Mr. Joji, your thoughts on the challenges?
Yeah, for me, when we IT talk about implementing new IT systems for improving the efficiency of the plant, especially you take the example of asset performance management systems. The initial cost of the implementing the technology always is little high. Now, what is the return on investment? And we need to analyze that. Then the business will think about whether we need to invest in technology or invest in equipments. There is a as the business is as the generation business is mainly working on a very thin margin. That question always arises, but this ROI analysis would be helpful, cost benefit analysis. According to me, for a system, asset performance management system with the predictive analytics and a good system, if you implement, the return on investment can be achieved within 6 months. For example, if the system can predict some failure in these systems and avoid a unscheduled unscheduled downtime, avoid a trip of a unit, that itself can uh, bring back the cost we invested for the systems. So according to me, so this ROI calculation can be done. Same time, also I suggest for any new power projects which is coming up, they need to plan the digitization in the project phase itself, which will reduce the cost of implementing, adding more cost to implement the technology for existing power generators or discoms. Then we need to do some kind of cost benefit analysis and uh, as I told you earlier, do the right investment. And also in the cyber, as Apurva said, cyber security and cyber security, it should be the part of life. When we implement the system, it should be part of the life. Cyber security should be taken care. Yeah.
Right. Apurva, your thoughts on the challenges quickly?
A couple of things. Mainly, if you look at, if you look at currently setup that we have power and utility sectors, we need to, we are very good in upgrading our IT side, but we are not good at upgrading our OT side. So, people need to think that how do we upgrade our OT side also, because, the world is changing fast. We are even government has started involvement in smart metering, smart grid. But at the same time, your plant should be capable to take up all this new digital technologies which are coming in. And I think that is what we need to look at it. Convergence of IT and OT, because earlier it used to be, OT was air gapped. Now that air gap has gone away. So converging an IT and OT, people need to think about it is not a simple IT system and you just plug and play and start working on it. So because OT is a more critical infrastructure. So these are a couple of things that people need to think of because these are the challenges that we see. And definitely when it comes to renewable, I think we need a solid forecasting model, because the prediction that what we will be forecasting energy generation for tomorrow or today has to be near to accurate. I am not saying it will be 100%, but I think it should be more than 95% accuracy should be there. So these are the things I see as a challenge.
Right. Vikas Gupta, your thoughts on the challenges?
Yeah, the only thing that I foresee is between the last decade and this decade is that we have unknowingly or knowingly stepped into this new decade in the entire pandemic. And the fact of the matter is the way the technology has got in thrust upon us, I mean, it has been thrust upon us is phenomenal. I think none of us, or probably very few of us, I'm sure everybody will agree, is the way we used to convince business to use IT and the way IT has been is getting demanded by business post pandemic, during pandemic, and pre pandemic. I'm sure we all will agree that there is nothing which we have to sell them. We have to they basically ask, okay, give me a VC. Why is VC not working? Why is mail system not working? Why are the alerts not being thrown by any system? So I think the most important thing is to be aware of that we are in dynamic times, and the way the technology will evolve and get thrust upon us will be at such a fast pace that it may just become very difficult for any of us basically at the helm of IT to really integrate the current technology with the future need and demand of the business in the first place, and to see that they can be integrated backward with with the existing infrastructure, with the existing technology, is something that I foresee as a major challenge.
Right. Rakesh, quickly, your thoughts on the challenges. 30 seconds to you.
Yeah, if you talk about like main challenges for the power distribution business is like just like for the ISP, we can say that, if you talk about the MDAS technology, MDAS and MDM, which where modem based data we acquiring through the SIM, okay. So Delhi, Bombay, all the metro city have a good network, but still in Delhi, if you see some point of places where Airtel network is working, some point of places Geo network is working, and it's a very challenging to capture the data for the ST billing, yeah, for the and for the energy utilization reports. Okay, so major challenges is for the data capturing and the way ISP, like nowadays there are two ISPs in India. You can say that there's Airtel and Geo. Okay, there are a lot of competitions over there, and network is very poor. Okay, so I think Yogesh sir, like he's in UP, he's doing very good in smart metering. I'm just following him very well in LinkedIn. And smart metering we just is going to install, but how we capture the data if your link is not feasible, if your network is not there, how we to trigger the data, how we communicate to the modem, how we communicate to the meter. That is the biggest challenge. I think those utility who are in very loss making company, where the energy losses is very high and collection efficiency is very less, where a smart meter will play the very major role. But same time we require the good network, good connectivity where data we can capture on the central server, and we can manage the collection efficiency very high. Am I right, sir?
Right, right. So
Yeah.
I think with this, we have come to the end of this exciting and insightful session on digitally transforming energy and utility sector. I was going through a document of IEA, and it was said that the pace of digitization in energies has increased many folds. Like investment in digital technologies by energy companies has risen sharply over the last few years. For example, they are saying that global investment in digital electricity infrastructure and software has grown by over 20% annually from 2014, reaching almost $48 billion dollars in 2016. And from 2016 to 2022, I think many folds have been changed, and that has been the impact of digital empowerment of energy sector in India and globally. There will be challenges, I think, but there is no denial of the fact that we have to embrace technology, digital innovation to move forward in the right direction to make energy and utility sector in India uh, um, a leader in the world. And there is no denial of the fact that we have to embrace technology, but as Mr. Joji or Mr. Puru was saying, we have to think about what kind of technology we're using. Are we using the right technology? Are we keeping in mind the threats of cybersecurity? Are we taking adequate steps? The connectivity issue, as Mr. Rakesh was saying, talking about for collecting data, as Mr. Yogesh was saying, that lack of expertise still is there very much prevalent in the system. And as Mr. Vikas was saying, that 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 as energy sector has been the early adopters of technology, but there are a lot of things is to be done in future. I think this has been the crux of last 1 hour discussion. But before we end this panel discussion, I request all of you to stay back for a minute, because we have a small token of recognition for your efforts being the digital transformation leaders in your own organization. So we'll be presenting you with the award certificate right away. Can we have the certificates on screen, please? The first award goes to Mr. Yogesh Kumar, Nodal Officer, Smart Meter, UPPCL, for his pioneering role in technology leadership in the energy and utility sector. Congratulations to you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
The next award goes to Mr. Joji Joseph, Head of Information Technology at SAP Reliance Power Limited, for again his pioneering role in the technology leadership in the energy and utility sector. Congratulations, Mr. Joji. It's
Thank
an
you very
honor
much.
for your efforts. The next
Thank you
award
very
goes
much.
to Apurva Dalal, Head of IT and Acting CISO, Adani Green Energy Limited, again for his pioneering role in technology leadership in the energy and utility sector. Congratulations, Mr. Apurva.
Thank you.
Next award goes to Mr. Vikas Gupta, CIO, H Energy Group of Companies, for his pioneering role in technology leadership in the energy and utility sector. We again congratulate Mr. Vikas. Thank you so much for joining us today. And the next award goes to Mr. Rakesh Nayak, General Manager IT, BAC's Yamuna Power Limited, again for his excellent role in the technology leadership in the energy and utility sector. We planned to actually organize this even physically, where we thought of handing over the awards in a physical mode, but again, the threat of Omicron pushed us back. But again, that's the beauty of using technology, that we're all here together and we are managing to do this event from various parts of India joining us. Thank you so much. But before we end this session, let me also take this opportunity to thank our partners Guidance Tamil Nadu, Gold Partner, Siemens and Preston, Security Partner, Fortinet, Industry Automation Partner, via Active Intelligence Partner, Click, and Associate Partners, Morphisec and Choice Solutions Limited. Thank you so much for joining us today, our esteemed
Thank you so
speakers,
much.
for this
Thank
panel
you.
discussion. Keep on watching APAC Virtual Manufacturing Conclave. There are many more sessions to come. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks a
thank
lot.
you.